Welcome to this business presentation on Prowess. My name is Godfrey Iso, and the audience for this presentation is the honorable men and women around the world, especially those from Cameroon, who are going to potentially become investors and partners in Prowess. Prowess is a revolution that we are introducing in the higher education and professional development space. And I wish to prepare your mind that when you're thinking about investing in a venture, you do have the responsibility to educate yourself about what you are investing in, understand the impact you are, partnering to create, and so sacrificing a few minutes to maybe an hour of your time to really become a master of prowess. That's the minimum you can expect of yourself. But hopefully this presentation is going to take less than an hour. So by the end of the presentation, you will know what prowess is. You will understand the value that prowess is adding to higher education institutions. You understand the value that Prowess is adding to companies. Um, you will know how to invest in Prowess. You will know what Prowess offers you in return for your investment. So let us dive right in. As a background to Prowess, we are going to use the Cameroon case study. So according to data from the Cameroon GCE board and the Cameroon Baccalaureate board, close to 200,000 students graduate from high school each year. But the nation's higher education infrastructure has space for less than 40% of these students. For over 4 years now, schools have been on lockdown in Anglophone Cameroon as a result of the ongoing conflict. This situation also took a national and international dimension when the COVID-19 pandemic broke out in 2020. Since the university reforms of the year 2000, Cameroon now has 8 state universities and about 201 approved higher education institutions. But the problems plaguing these institutions are enormous. Some are shortage of qualified staff, inadequate infrastructure, lack of modern library facilities, laboratories, and digital infrastructure. What are the problems facing the corporate world in Africa? We now live in an information age where knowledge doubles on an annual basis. And what what problem does this knowledge have life create? It means that by the time students graduate from university, the curriculum that was used to teach them has already become outdated. This poses a problem because it means that those who are getting into the job market are not ready for the skills that the job market is looking for. The rapidly changing job landscape also involves new technology tools, new regulations, global markets that now make each business to be competing now not only with local businesses but with global competitors. The shift toward customer-centered quality, and all of this means that the average worker needs to continuously be learning, unlearning the old stuff, learning new stuff, and applying as they go along. So the need for corporate training solutions has never been more urgent. Also, many companies already have a culture in which they require their staff to show proof of career development each year as part of their staff evaluation. And then those who are involved in regulated professions, staff continuing professional education is also a requirement for renewing their annual licenses. So we do have a unique solution that responds to these needs in the form of Prowess, which is a higher education cloud platform developed by Guzheng Technologies in collaboration with Coursera. We are partnering with higher education institutions and companies across Africa to develop and host e-learning programs. So for academic institutions, we will be developing and hosting the distance learning versions of programs that they are already running on campus. For corporate partners, we will be designing training packages that suit their needs. So for academic institutions, students who are studying online and working at the same time will be coming to their host institution simply to take exams and obtain their final diplomas. And these courses that we're teaching on Prowess are curated from a catalog of more than 7,000 courses that are hosted on Coursera by 241 different universities and companies so far. So for companies, this unique solution helps in reskilling to meet up with the emerging technology and regulatory needs and global markets. It helps with micro specialization, which increases performance. It helps staff to develop the soft skills that we call the 21st century skills, like problem solving, critical thinking, research, emotional intelligence, cultural sensitivity, and so on, things that are not taught in school, but that account for 80% of job performance. We do have a starving market for prowess. More than 60% of those who need higher education in Africa do not have access to it because more than half the population of Africa lives in rural settings where there are no higher education institutions. So going to the university usually means relocating to the city, and this comes with huge financial and social implications. In Cameroon, the hundreds of thousands of students who have acquired higher professional diplomas over the last 20 years now need to upgrade to bachelor's degrees so that they can get promotions, salary increases, or continue their education through to graduate level and so on. Unfortunately, the only means of doing so currently in Cameroon is to quit their jobs and go back to the classroom. This is a paradox because it is those jobs that they want to advance in. According to the National Employment Fund, 80% of Cameroonian graduates are not employable because they lack the skills that the job market needs. So graduates form a huge market for reprofessionalization, and this is something we can do through accelerated HND programs online. Most companies do not yet have corporate training solutions. Most existing solutions involve corporate partnerships with locally developed learning packages. Like the typical scenario is where a company hires a trainer who comes in once in a while to do PowerPoint presentations for the staff and walk away. So those are very primitive approaches to corporate training, and unfortunately that is what is prevalent across Africa. So again, we know that there are millions of companies in Anglophone Africa, so the market is unlimited. How timely is our intervention? Before partnering with Coursera in late 2020, we had been designing and testing our unique blended learning strategy since 2016. The Anglophone crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic have both worked in synergy to catalyze a massive adoption of digital learning as a lifestyle in Cameroon and in Africa. Unfortunately, most institutions are still using rudimentary approaches to online learning, such as WhatsApp and Zoom classes. So digital solutions to learning are now both necessary and fashionable, both in the educational and the corporate space. And so there has never been a better time than now to launch a solution like Prowess. Looking at Nigeria next door, we know that Nigeria is Africa's largest economy, so the number of companies we can partner with in Nigeria, they are unlimited. But let us focus on higher education. Here, you see that Nigeria has 43 federal universities, 48 state universities, 79 private universities, and over 100 approved polytechnics. Over the past 10 years, there has been an increasing trend of Nigerian students moving to Cameroon to study, either because the academic year in Cameroon is more steady, stable, and predictable, and also because cost of studying in Cameroon is lower than in Nigeria. Also, this has engendered a trend in which it is now easier for Nigerian students to have the Cameroonian equivalents of their high school certificates, thereby being able to obtain Cameroonian HND and Cameroonian degrees, both from state universities and private institutions. Unlike Nigeria, where universities are approved to directly, private universities are approved to directly offer their degrees, and polytechnics are approved to offer their HNDs directly. In Cameroon, um, private higher education institutions prepare students for a common exam that is administered by the Ministry of Higher Education, after which they get a diploma um, awarded by the Ministry of Higher Education. Then, private higher institutes that are running degree programs are usually affiliated with state universities. So, there's a great world of opportunity that Prowess brings, because Prowess now makes it possible for higher education institutions, whether they're in Cameroon or Nigeria or Namibia, wherever they are, they can now recruit and train more students from any part of Africa and award degrees to those students. And then in countries like Cameroon, where schools prepare students for a common exam, institutions can now admit students from next door countries like Nigeria, and teach them online, and the students only come in at the end of the program to write the higher national diploma. So this has very, very huge implications on admission, enrollment rates, and other considerations. What then is Prowess? Prowess is a higher education cloud platform developed by Guzang Technologies in collaboration with Coursera. Both companies are based in the United States. As part of this structure, we had to partner with a polytechnic in Cameroon, Jomat Polytechnic Higher Institute. So far, we have concluded talks with 4 other institutions in Bamenda, Yaoundé, and Douala, and we will be signing the agreements by the end of July. Our target is to have at least 20 academic partnerships and 100 corporate partnerships by the start of 2020-2021 academic year this October. Our immediate markets are Cameroon and Nigeria, and the larger market is Anglophone Africa. So as you heard before, Prowess is a solution that is hosted by Coursera. Coursera was founded by a team of professors from Stanford University back in 2012, and they built the company to the level where it went public in 2021. So now, as we speak, Coursera is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. And because of the dramatic effect that Coursera has had on education, which is a social venture, Coursera is one of the few companies that has been awarded the B Corporation status. So far, more than 70 million learners have already enrolled on Coursera worldwide. Coursera has 241 teaching partners, including top universities like Stanford and Yale, and top companies like Google and Amazon. These partners represent 53 countries, and so far we have 7,430 courses in the following disciplines: art and humanities, business, computer science, data science, information technology, health science, math and logic, personal development, physical science and engineering, social science, languages, and so on. So here is how our business model looks like for the academic partnerships. We partner with private universities and private higher education establishments. We sign an MOU with them, and we select the programs that they like us to run online in collaboration with them. So when students enroll into these programs, they are automatically matriculated into those institutions. Students, the target for our online programs are students who are already working either on their full-time jobs or private businesses. So they are studying online to complete the theoretical component of their courses. So Prowess now replaces the classroom, and the students spend most of their time gaining practical skills. So this is quite a disruption of the current approach where students spend 90% plus, of the time in the classroom and then go and idle out in the market for a while in the name of internships, and then they come back and call themselves professionals. That is fake. With Prowess, students spend more than 90% of the time gaining practical skills, and then they use their spare time to study online, obtain certificates from our teaching partners, then come to the host institution for final exams. Those who came in with advanced levels, they end up with higher national diplomas. Those who came in with HNDs, they end up with bachelor's degrees. With corporate partnerships, it's a little easier, straightforward. When Prowess partners with a company, that company basically identifies the learning needs for their staff based on their sector, and Prowess creates a course catalog for that company uh, and enrolls the staff for that company, and that is it. When the staff, when they finish their courses, they download their certificates. We can guide them on how to upload those certificates on LinkedIn, and when people upload their certificates on LinkedIn, LinkedIn, has these algorithms in which that certificate is not only boosting that employee's profile, is boosting the company's profile as well. So in this age of digitalization and the stiff competition, that is one approach to increase the value of companies. Prowess, as you heard, is a campus platform hosted on Coursera. So we already have a contract with Coursera that we signed in September 2020, and all this while we've been developing and testing our platform. So the figures you see are real figures generated by the artificial intelligence algorithms on Coursera from the traffic that has been passing through Prowess. So 1,070 enrollments, 5,292 learning hours, 6,515 lessons taken, and an average rating of 4.6 on 5. What that tells you is that Prowess already has a massive adoption. I mean, in the past 6 months, we've been able to generate this kind of data. So we have something that people are craving for. Coursera in itself is like an ocean of knowledge, and Prowess is like a virtual university. So we have structured Prowess to mimic the architecture of a real university, and how we did that by creating faculties within Prowess. So what you see in front of you, for example, is Prowess Business School, Prowess ICT Academy, and so on. The list continues down the screen with Prowess School of Health Sciences, Prowess School of Tourism and Hotel Management, Prowess School of Engineering, and so on. Our administrative portal gives us the flexibility to manage programs. So those faculties in which that we populate by working with the syllabuses of our partner institutions. We manage learners, we are able to admit students, we are able to monitor students, we are able to unenroll students, and so on. And then we're able to manage course catalogs. When you click on a program in on Prowess, it opens up the courses that are contained within that program. So here's an example of the Google IT Support Certification Program and the courses that are contained in that program. When you click on a course, you get a course overview that gives you an introduction, a course title, an introduction, the level of the course. So some courses are beginner level, some are intermediate level. um, you'll be able to see who is teaching that course, which institution, and it's not only the institution, the actual profile of the professors and professionals that are teaching that program. So here's an example of a syllabus. You see how courses are arranged in weeks. A week on Coursera is basically a topic, meaning that you can finish it at your pace. And lessons are packaged in the form of videos, reading material, quizzes, and those programs that require practical exercises. Those exercises can be done online, using virtual machines in the cloud. So I mean, Prowess is something just amazing. Here's an example of a course list. We have blotted out the names and email addresses of the students for the sake of privacy, but you see that an administrator of Prowess can pull up a list under each program. So whether it's a faculty or a company and so on, and we know who is on which program, when they enrolled, and what their level of activity is. Here's an example of an actual student. Again, we've hidden the name and contact, but you can see the exact number of courses that the student is taking, the course titles, the enrollment date, the last activity date, the course progress in percentages, and the completion status. I mean, physical institutions don't have the capacity to manage students the way we have the capacity to manage them on Prowess. You can even see that blue button there. We can email the student right away to talk about what we are seeing on their dashboard. Here are sample certificates. So whether it's IBM or Google or Edinburgh University or Maryland University or London University, when a learner completes a course on Prowess, they get a certificate signed by that university or that company teaching that program. This is just so powerful. So for corporate learners, this is all they need. When they get their certificates, they use it to update their CVs and update their LinkedIn profile and update maybe their human resource departments. For those who are studying through academic institutions, these certificates are what the institution now uses to build a transcript for the student, because Prowess now replaces the classroom. So students were able to present the certificates in exchange for institutional transcripts that will now be used to offer them awards like the higher national diploma or the bachelor's degree. Of course, these institutions would normally want to administer exams, either end of semester exams or end of year exams, as the need may be. So in the academic domain, the market that we are addressing is a one that most people don't really pay attention to. Think of the millions of rural youths, stay-at-home moms, and self-employed youths who have the GC advanced level or equivalent qualifications but do not have access to campuses. So these students can now study through Prowess and earn their higher national diplomas or bachelor's degrees. We have the millions of university students who are unemployed and for whom we can do reprofessionalization HND programs maybe in 1 year. And then we have the working class diploma holders who have money and they want to study, but they cannot quit their jobs and go back to the classroom. In terms of corporate training, we've done a market segmentation that groups banks, financial institutions, and telecom companies into one category. Healthcare institutions, educational institutions, religious bodies, and humanitarian organizations into one body. Government services, parastatal firms, and local councils into one category, and then all other businesses involved with marketing, advertising, sales, human resources, customer care, ICT, project management, entrepreneurship, and all of that. So we have content for all of these sectors. Our communication and marketing plan for the academic institutions, involves working with those institutions to advertise the programs that we have created for them. And we are going to have an online application portal for each institution that will make it easy for people to be able to apply from anywhere. And then we do have a massive communication platform on social media and traditional media outlets that we'll be using to drive traffic to the various institutions and their programs. For the corporate partnerships, it's a lot simpler because once we negotiate a contract with an organization, the key stakeholder signs the contract and automatically all the staff of that company are onboarded. Our unique value proposition for the academic domain takes the form of this SWOT analysis. Usually, the first concern that comes to mind is whether uh, people have access to internet or they can afford internet, or there's also this issue of whether e-learning is a culture in Africa. So those are the major weaknesses of Prowess. But if we look at the current situation, the COVID pandemic has created a global, leaning toward online learning or toward digital solutions. The Anglophone crisis in Cameroon has necessitated the need for digital learning solutions. So what would have been the weaknesses of our project have turned out to be a strength because we are responding to those needs. In terms of the strengths of the project, first of all, we are curating courses from 7,000 courses on Coursera taught by 241 different institutions and companies. In terms of depth of content, scope of content, internationalization, crossbreeding of knowledge and experiences, there is basically no institution on earth that can afford the kind of quality that we are putting in the hands of Prowess learners. There is no single institution that can create that kind of value. Secondly, students are taught by a blend of the best, professors and professionals from these teaching partners, meaning that the students or the institutions that we're working with, which normally have problems of staff in terms of numbers and quality, they no longer need to worry about that for their distance students. Also, the fact that students can study from anywhere while working means that institutions now have infinite scalability. For example, an institution that has a physical capacity of 500 students, by running some of their programs on Prowess, that same institution can now have the capacity to have 5,000 students. So that's what we mean by infinite scalability. In terms of opportunities, we've mentioned COVID-19 and the Anglophone crisis and the fact that both governments and institutions are already clamoring for digital solutions, but most of them do not have the capacity to produce something like Prowess. Also, we think about infrastructure, smartphones, tablets, internet connectivity, and so on. Fortunately for us, Africa is one of the places that has the highest penetrations of smartphones and other digital devices. So the infrastructure is already there. And do people have internet access? It's easy to answer that question. Just browse through social media and answer for yourself how many hours African youth spend on social media. So African youth have more than enough internet access, more than enough ability to afford internet. The question is what value they are getting from their online presence, and that is where Prowess comes in. In terms of threats, threats usually think of competition, but the fact that our pedagogic approach is radically innovative means that we don't really have competition. Again, we are not competing with our academic partners because we are not interested in those students that they admit and put on the bench. We are increasing the value of these institutions instead by creating programs that will enable them reach more students. Also, the Coursera technology, it's one of the best in the world. The Coursera platform is the world's largest and most sophisticated online learning platform right now, and we have a contract with Coursera. So what we are doing in collaboration with Coursera is not something that anybody can just copy. In terms of corporate uh, value, the value that we're adding to companies, the strengths of our approach. Again, you look at the content that we curate from this ocean of courses on Coursera. There is no single trainer that you can hire in a company or for a company that will be able to give the kind of value that Prowess would give to its partner companies. There is also this problem of expert sourcing that companies have. Companies identify learning needs. They now need to look for which expert is best suited to offer which training, and we know that there's a shortage of these experts. But through Prowess, all African companies have access now to the best professors and the best professionals from the top universities and companies. Also, the fact that learners can learn from anywhere, from their office, from their home, from wherever, means that a company can now run corporate training for their staff in all branches at the same time. Finally, learners receive institutional certificates. A certificate that has a logo of London University on it, a certificate that has a logo of Johns Hopkins University on it. There is no way you can compare that with a piece of paper that somebody signed after a PowerPoint seminar. So it's a no-brainer. So in terms of opportunities, weaknesses, and threats, it's the same as in the previous slide. So our pricing plan for academic institutions, we offer unlimited 1 year access for $365 per student. So when we're negotiating partnerships with institutions, that's what we offer them. And comparing this with what Coursera offers, we are lower because we have a contract with Coursera. In that contract, we already negotiated lower licensing fees, and things like that. So we are able to offer access to these courses to our learners at a lower rate than Coursera itself. And then apart from Coursera, Coursera's greatest competitor is edX, but edX is a lot more expensive than Coursera. For companies, apart from the 1 year unlimited access, we also have the option of doing short trainings in the form of monthly subscriptions. So, for example, if a company wanted us to do a training on customer care or emotional intelligence and so on, we would basically curate a learning package for that company, and if we agree that that program should run for 1 month, then we will give access to their staff for that 1 month, and they will pay only for that 1 month. So the advantage that companies have is that they can do a pay-as-you-go plan, which many companies will find more flexible and friendly. So usually people ask, how affordable is $365, in Africa and so on. If you put that in the context of what people spend on higher education, then you see that we are doing charity. The average private higher education institution fee in Cameroon, for example, is 500,000 francs. There are private universities that charge as high as 1.5 million francs per year. In Nigeria, it's a lot higher. So this our $365 per year is less than half the fees that institutions normally charge in Cameroon. So they'll be able to work with our fee as a baseline and then set their fees at their discretion. And whatever they are adding to it becomes their passive income because they're not spending anything on these students. So Prowess does have the capacity to help higher education institutions not only to multiply their enrollment but also to multiply their cash flow. For the corporate world, we know that career development is already a corporate culture in most modern companies, meaning that these companies already have a budget for career development. And for companies that are not yet familiar with this, especially those medium-sized companies, we do have the option of introducing a cost-sharing agreement between the companies and the staff. If the company can pay part and the staff pay part, the staff would have an incentive to enroll for programs that they would have paid for anywhere, somewhere else anyway. So, as mentioned earlier, there's a standard plan and a flex plan, and so Prowess, in terms of financials, Prowess is a very flexible solution for companies. In terms of projections, we're looking at having our first 1,000 students within the 2021-2022 academic year, and we envisage having an enrollment of 10,000 per year within the next 5 years. And our overall goal is that by 2040, we would have offered training to 1 million Africans. So whether it's in the corporate space or the higher education space, we have a 20-year plan for training 1 million Africans. That is how we are going to measure our impact. So the good news is that based on the licensing agreements we have with Coursera and the budget for our running costs, by the time we hit 1,000 enrollments, we would already be breaking even. Question is, how easy is it to get 1,000 students? Very easy. 20 academic partnerships means that if we work with institutions that have the capacity to bring us 500, are we even talking about 500 students per year for 20 institutions? That's already 10,000 students. Um, companies, there are companies that have staff strength from 50 to 300, and usually it takes just one signature to give us access to all those staff. So this is a digital solution. There are institutions that have 3,000 students, 5,000 students on their physical campuses. So 10,000 is a very conservative number, and 100,000 in the next 10 years, 1 million in the next 20 years is very, very achievable, because again, these are very conservative numbers. With a digital platform like Prowess, there is potential for infinite scalability. There are no limits. So the person whose voice you are hearing is my humble self, Godfrey Iso. I am the founder of Guzang Technologies, the parent company of Prowess. Guzang was founded in 2019 in the USA. Prior to founding Guzang, I was appointed rector of Jomat Polytechnic, Batibo, in 2016. I worked as Dean of the School of Medical and Biomedical Sciences of National Polytechnic University Institute, Bamenda, between 2013 and 2015. I have worked with the Ministry of Public Health of Cameroon as a senior medical laboratory scientist, and I have been deputy director in charge of teaching and administration at the Higher Institute of Applied Medical Sciences in Boya. So you can see that I am the perfect hybrid when it comes to technology, entrepreneurship, higher education, and professional life. So in terms of my distinctions, a few that we could cite would be the fact that I am a fellow of the Foundation for the Advancement of International Medical Education and Research. It's based in Philadelphia, USA, and I completed my training in Cape Town, South Africa in 2016. In 2017, I was a winner of the Projects That Work competition in recognition for my contributions in higher education innovation in Africa. I am an alumnus of the Hive Global Leaders Program, Harvard Medical School June 2017 session, and I am currently a member of the American Association of Higher Education Administrators. There is a dynamic team that works with me to handle the key areas of this venture, especially the corporate partnerships, the academic partnerships, administration and finance, uh, learning and student support. So here is where you come in. As you can see, you've seen earlier, Prowess is not a startup. Prowess is already at the scale up stage, because we have had a very, very successful pilot. Again, Prowess is not experimenting, because we are leveraging platforms that are already super successful, leveraging Coursera, leveraging the 241 institutions that teach through Coursera, leveraging the academic and corporate partners that we are working with on the ground. So it's just like when you think of Airbnb as the biggest hotel chain in the world, but they don't own any hotel, or you think of Uber as the biggest taxi company in the world that does not own any taxi. That's the power of leverage. So by the time you ask yourself, what is the success potential of Prowess, just tell yourself that it's infinite. So we are looking for committed investors who can help us raise $500,000 by December 2021. And this is a budget that will cover licensing fees and operating costs for a period of 2 years. So although we have a high potential of breaking even in the first year, I think it makes business sense to raise enough capital with which we can run for at least 2 years. We have broken down this capital into 500 shares of $1,000 each. So if you sign up as an investor, then you can buy from 1 share to 100 shares. And if you are buying more than 1 share, then we will give you the opportunity to pay in monthly installments until December. What are we offering in return? We have introduced a very disruptive model for compensating our investors. So in the short term, you will earn 12% annual dividend on your principal, effective December 2022. And this will go on for a period of 5 years. After 5 years, we will refund your initial investment. And then after we must have refunded your initial investment, you will still be earning passive income from the company in the form of revenue sharing. So we are setting aside 25% of annual profits to share to investors in the form according to their shares. What does this mean? That if we are in a situation where we are making $2 million in annual profits, then each investor would be making a passive income every year equivalent to 100% the amount that they initially invested in the company. And what's intriguing, this is after they have already withdrawn their initial capital with cumulative 60% interest. And in the long term, you heard that our long-term goal by 2040 is to have, trained 1 million Africans. If we are making a profit of $100 per person that we train, $100 per year, by the time we hit this target of training 1 million Africans, then Prowess would have generated enough money to be able to pay our investors a total of $25 million. So that is how huge this project is. So where do we go from here? If you're happy with what you have learned so far, of course, I trust you wouldn't have come this far if you didn't find this fascinating. So the next step is to enroll as an investor. You can call us, you can email us, you can fill an enrollment form whose link we can send to you. After that, we can set up a meeting to clarify, answer all questions that you may have. Then you proceed to make your first payment. When you make your payment, that is first payment for those who are going to pay in installments. When you make your payment, we will now sign your investor agreement through DocuSign. So no matter where you are in the world, there's a smart platform on which we sign encrypted contracts. There's no problem with that. We also have a cloud accounting platform on which we manage our accounts. So you're going to have a user portal that you can access with your email and password and track your investment in real time. And of course, as an investor, you will have the opportunity to attend annual meetings and receive annual reports. So thank you very much. for your time. I am very positive that you're going to respond positively to this invitation and join us to create the impact that we are out to create. Prowess is a lucrative venture. I can assure you that those of you, who wake up every day wondering about what you can do to make more money, what you can do to, you know, help, achieve your retirement goals, where you can put your money so that it can be working money rather than idling in the bank and, losing value. Prowess is one of those most lucrative and surest investments that you have at your disposal right now. I know what I'm talking about, and I am there to manage Prowess as my full-time job. So even if um, the Prowess concept still, you need time to grasp the intricacies of the company itself. Sometimes the biggest reason why people invest is that they believe in the person who believes in that dream. So that is one advantage you have. So apart from that financial promise, you and I also know that Africa's future is education, because education is a gateway to development. And education is no longer about reading and writing, it's about those knowledge and skills that make our young people competitive on the global space. So thank you very much for partnering with us to bring about this change. Thank you, and God bless you.